So I want to welcome everybody today to our continuing series of solutions that we present built in and around and on top of SharePoint that addresses a wide range of business use cases for the AEC. And today, properly entitled this, but today we're going to be looking at redlining, principally redlining and redaction, but principally redlining in the browser in SharePoint around a host of files that the industry has to deal with. Our partner today that we're featuring is Informative Graphics Corporation. We're going to have Andy on the call with us as well. And so let me begin with the beginning. So today we're going to go usual about who we are and, of course, Informative Graphics as well. I always stop just to talk about the 6 pillars of SharePoint so you can understand the full value proposition. Project Ready, which is what we've dubbed a suite of solutions that we have, both which we built independently and based upon our partnership with companies like IGC or Informative Graphics Corporation. Touch briefly upon IGC and then into the lovely world of demos. So with that, our company began in 2002. I'm the founder of the firm. We've been a Microsoft Gold partner since we began, and we have been a field managed partner by Microsoft since the inception of the program in 2004. And are now the longest standing field managed partner in New York metropolitan area, the largest Microsoft market in the world. Field managed partners, nobody knows what I'm talking about until I explain it. I think it's 0.25% of Gold partners now are field managed by Microsoft. So field managed means that way back in the past, the folks at Microsoft saw GigWorks as being an exemplary partner in the quality of our work, our dedication to technical excellence, and our customer satisfaction. And with that, no company loves a self-fulfilling prophecy more than Microsoft. You win their order, and they actually come back to you with things that we think have made us, in the long run, a superior partner in the marketplace, not the least of which is advanced training. So as a for instance, we've already been trained on the new Office 2013 development model, the new Windows 8 tile application development model. We've been running SharePoint ourselves since November as we were trained on the product way in advance. And we've been in this accelerated program now for, well, just up and down here, this partner evidence program that I'm referencing for the last 3 iterations of SharePoint. And we really do believe that what we've been able to cultivate in reputation from Microsoft and then their dedication back to us in terms of our continued success and our technical excellence does come back as benefit to our clients. With that, we've won a whole bunch of awards over the year, but we're very proud that the last 3 years running, our best tech partner in New York Metro, beating out over 13,000 partners. And our market focus is pretty much from 100 seats to 150,000. And while headquartered in New York, we do have clients across, I keep forgetting to update my slide, across North America now, and particularly with those industries within the architecture, engineering, and construction space. In that, not to toot our horn, but we have found that we have a sort of unique presence in North America as being pretty much the firm that we can find out there that focuses on your industry. Moving right along, I will keep this brief, but I think it's always important to summarize the power of the 6 pillars. The demo today is going to be on 2010. The official release is not until May, although we've already started booting it up for a number of our clients. But to stick with what the demo environment is and what the current sort of off-the-shelf product is, 2010, SharePoint represented this unique approach to enterprise computing going back to its inception, and it's done nothing but mature and become more powerful with every iteration. This unique paradigm shift that SharePoint represented was a single platform that encompassed a number of what would have otherwise been traditionally line of business silos, application silos within the enterprise. So what do I mean by this? Insights is their business intelligence piece. So you go out, you get Cognos for business objects, you search, you get a Google appliance, God forbid. Content, you're running OpenText, Documentum. Communities is what we call Web 2.0 functionality, the LinkedIn or MySpace for the enterprise. Sites is what it sounds like, the ASPX kind of sites out there, which you would have built custom or maybe gone Drupal or something like that. And then composites, which is forms, automation, and the ability to interoperate with line of business data, which in certain respects I think is a very unique characteristic and a very powerful component of SharePoint, certainly since the 2010 iteration. And the moral of the story, why I reference these 6 pieces, is because the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. In other words, for SharePoint to really work well, and we're going to do a small subsegment of what is typically a larger demo, but we'll touch upon these components, that when you think about content, for instance, for content to be useful as it relates to being in a content management system, you need to attribute it with metadata. Well, if that metadata exists out in Deltek or Oracle or some other ERP as it relates to client name or what your practice area is, Composites will let you pull in that information and present it as authoritative, one-sourced metadata throughout the enterprise for a variety of things, content. Now that your content is well-defined and standardized, search now works better. So these types of components, this interplay between the pillars, in fact, allows for a much more powerful solution set because it's all built off of this uniform platform at that point. And that's the drum we always like to beat. So as we go into engaging clients, even if it's just a request to integrate to the line of business system, the ERP, so they can spin up project sites, or in this case, redlining through Brava and Informative Graphics Corporation, we really do believe that our success as a firm and the success we've brought to our clients has to do with this deep understanding of the need to know where you're going, to have a roadmap, to have something that will scale, that leverages this incredible compendium of functionality that the SharePoint and the 6 pillars represents. So I'll move along from that, but certainly as we go through the demo, you'll see a number of these elements come to light, and we really do think it's the power of the product and oftentimes a missed opportunity that we always like to approach. So in terms of our experience in the AEC, again, we have customers across North America at this point, getting some nibbles in the Middle East right now, and hopeful that we can expand our business over there as well. And with that, the company is now, how old am I? Well, I know how old I am, but the company's about 11 years old. So since we began, we've had clients within the industry. So way before we did SharePoint, when we did custom application development and advanced infrastructure, by which I would also mention that SharePoint is really the combined skill set of those things, we've been working with engineering and construction and architectural clients since we opened our doors. And over time, we've built some unique IP, or information intellectual property, around the industry and its needs. But also, as we worked with our clients, we've identified key gaps that the platform represents, and subsequently we partner with a number of strategic ISVs, or independent software vendors, of which Informative Graphics is featured today, to support our clients' needs. We're not here to reinvent the wheel. We want to make sure that our clients have the most stable and economical and scalable solution. That's what makes us good. And with that, we think we have the best taste on the street as it relates to third parties and their ability to augment and expand the functionality of SharePoint for our clients. Some of the features that we've built over time, I'm not going to read the list at you, although I'll probably read a little bit of it at you. And we'll distribute this. There's a questionnaire at the end that we ask everybody to fill out. And if you do so, we forward you a whole bunch of materials, not the least of which is today's presentation. But we've built a lot of stuff. RFIs and middle management, project accounting integration. Typically we show Deltek, but we've done with Oracle and everybody else. The ability to automatically attribute data with that project ID. A whole plethora of things, some of which are uniquely our own. And today, as we get into over here on redlining, publishing, and distribution, this is going to be largely Informative Graphics Corporation. In terms of these solutions that we've built for clients, obviously on-premise, but we have helped a lot of clients get out into the cloud in a hosted environment. We can even do software as a service now for what we are dubbing our project-ready platform. And with that, if our clients see a subset of a product that they like, to go, damn, Joe, we already got SharePoint running, but that RFI solution is just really what we need. Obviously, we can leverage that IP at greatly reduced costs, we believe, to get it into your on-premise or off-premise environment. So going back to our ISV relationships, it warrants a brief mention an explanation of what I mean by this partner ecosystem. So in the Microsoft world, there's three major components. There's Microsoft, who is the key manufacturer of platform product, in this case, SharePoint, and obviously the Windows operating system. Then ISVs, or independent software vendors, and we have informative graphics over here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Who see functional gaps, and in this case, like redlining and publication to PDF directly in the browser, and step into that void, if you will, and go, you know what, SharePoint's a great platform, but we're going to build something that's going to run native in SharePoint, no additional, not a standalone server with an API and a sort of weak integration by my standard, but something that really truly sits within that platform solution, SharePoint solution, that just takes it to the next level for industries. The third component of the ecosystem is the SI, or the systems integrator. And even though we're .NET type folk over here, our job, like a general contractor, we're sort of between an architect and a GC, right? Where we go in, we go, okay, you want a house? Do you want Anderson doors? We got this roof. And so with that, we look at the needs of our client and we go, okay, here's your base platform. This is your foundation. Here's how your windows and doors are going to come out. We pick out, those components that will help get that house up and running and keep those costs down and keep it looking elegant. And with that, some of our own unique craftsmanship. And we pull it together, both in terms of an architectural vision and in terms of the delivery of the solution itself. And we have this big reliance on our ISV friends for that. And so in general, we work with Brightwork, Nintex, IGC, FP Web. Got to update this slide. We also work with Knowledge Lake and a couple of other folks that really round out the solution set. And Andy, you can jump in at any moment, but I do have some of informative graphics slides up here. By my mind, it being incorporated in 1990, this in IT years, which are longer than dog years, it's a very long time for a firm to be around. My understanding is that the company has been growing initially around Documentum and OpenText and things like that, but moved into the SharePoint space as that product has matured over the last dozen years. And it has a very, very long and rich tradition of both browser-based and traditional rich client tools for redlining, redaction, and other purposes around content management. Number of key markets that they claim, that IGC claims as verticals with which they work. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, ECM, IBM, Microsoft, these are the platforms they support, but we only care about Microsoft. We're partisan here. And as you can see, AEC as well. Okay. And just a couple of quick screen grabs, because I'd rather show it to you living in the browser. What IGC allows you to do through the Brava product set is to render not only DWGs, by the way, but a whole bunch of other file formats into a browser-based view that allows you to redline it, comment on it, and distribute it. So I'm just going to get out of here right now. If everybody would be kind enough to give me a moment to share out my my virtual machine and remote desktop therein. Here we go. Now let me begin at the beginning. Okay, so before we get into the meat of the matter, as it were, just want to sort of set the stage for where IGC is product set's going to come into this. I'm very big on context, right? So that when you think about it, at the end of the day, I'm sure all of you guys out there have seen an endless array of product demonstrations over time, but I really do like to couch it in some level of business context and give a shameless plug, if you will, to some of the other features that we offer. So here's a home page. This is our project-ready default demonstration area. And there are a number of key factors we think as it relates to this business flow. So in the use case that we present on mass, and this will be a 3-minute tour when we get right in IGC, one of the things that we like to feature is the provisioning of best practices team sites that allow collaboration to occur. We do this through InfoPath. We pull data in and out of Deltek or Oracle or whatever, and allow a very controlled, governed process to occur that will ultimately result in a best practices team site for our clients to work in. And with that, because of this process that we undertake, we're actually writing and reserving and pulling back into SharePoint and synchronizing with these ERPs the project ID. And you'll see this somewhat in play with the Brava demo as well as we get there. So we thought this was rather critical because the project ID is all it's all that, right? It's all that in a slice of bread. It's the most important piece of metadata inside of an environment for our AEC clients. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done and delivered, you end up in a best practices team site. Oops, didn't mean form, meant to go right to the site. So let me go there. So let me go back up to the top level of this. When we finish the provisioning of the site, we end up with this best practices team site. Now, any of you who work with SharePoint, you know this is highly malleable. This is just something that we came up with. It also exemplifies project management and how to deliver documents. Very rich array of things. Inside of this, in terms of a taxonomy for the site, we understand the need to maintain control and distribution and collaborate on project documents, drawings, emails, photos, communicating on the outside with RFIs and submittals, getting information to consultants and clients, all securely through SharePoint libraries, nice and security trimmed, very manageable, fully auditable, which we think is no small thing as compared certainly to FTP. And then, of course, project management components. And this typifies a best practices team site, replete with a bit.ly link for Nintex. So road warriors who are using PDAs and iPads and the like can actually interact with the solution, with forms, with workflows. So that's a very brief nickel tour of our best practices team site. Needed to frame that because, again, going to business context, two other things to show you. So in this library, for instance, you'll see that reference number. This is also the URL of the site, N1202-100. That's the GWB George Washington Bridge Renovation Project. It has that reference number, and then we augment it with the library alpha. So we extend the schema to be inclusive of, okay, if it's A, it's a project document. So here we go, it's A. And then the next logical integer to really make this work well. Certainly when you go to search later on, you now have this authoritative number to do so. And likewise, one other thing I do want to show you. So in terms of editing the attributes, and this brings us into Brava now, Informative Graphics Corporation, even though probably the primary appeal of this audience is going to be around traditional AutoCAD assets and the like, does in fact work also with pretty much anything, Word, PDF, et cetera, and so forth, and has a really great augmentation to SharePoint in that, so when you go in and you edit the properties of a document, you need to change the status of a document or elicit a workflow that's based upon a change of state from in progress to submitted, something to this effect. When you go to the screen itself, we get to see, in this case, a Word document, and it's previewed. And these tools, which we're not going to go into here, actually work right out of this preview pane, right out of just the edit section of the document's properties, which is pretty slick. And you'll see more of this as we get into search later. Likewise, again, we go into the drawings library where we'll start getting a little bit deeper into the Brava demonstration. Likewise, we have this auto numbering of AutoCAD, or in this case, DWGs as well. So let me take you into a couple of features, and then I've already asked Andy, who was kind enough to join us today, if I missed something, to just cheerily go, Joe, you might want to show this, that, or the other thing. It's a big environment, so I just want to make sure I communicate everything to you guys. But here we have a DWG. We've loaded an iFilter so that we can identify and, in fact, search against this later. And you'll see there's two main buckets right here that relate to Brava. And so let's view this document. So this is a DWG. Those of you who have questions about XREFs and the like later, please post that in the Q&A. There's different ways to approach these things. But here's an example of a DWG. This is in Internet Explorer. It fully renders. And here we go. So with that, we can do some things. We can annotate. And this is where I always get to show everybody how pathetic as it relates to my engineering skills are. But, you know, you can draw little lines and all that good stuff. You can stamp it. You can put cloud tags. You can do all sorts of things. You can also put notes in here. And now we have a change mark and we have a note. So this is a very powerful function that, as a couple of things. As you make these changes to the document, you're not bastardizing the original. It's essentially an overlay that's being captured behind the scenes, so that you can even version these things and revert, et cetera, and so forth, and leave the DWG's integrity completely alone. And again, also inclusive of things like Word and PDF. So this will be Joe's note from January 2013. Oop, what's 1,000 years ahead. Here is my note, such that it. Now with this, you also have different categories. Now these things are customizable, but out of the box you have, well, what is this change mark? Is this action? Does this require a change? Is this an issue? Is there something missing? So I'm going to say it's an issue. And what's the priority of it? Is it high priority? So I'll say yes. And so that's written. Now as I fly this guy out, as I fly, go away. So I fly out the side panel here. Now you see a number of other controls and grids come up. So we can move around the document pretty easily this way, because it's 2 pages to this DWG. Let me go to the notes section. Here's the note that I just issued. So let me save this. Keep rushing the centuries here. Let me go back to my drawing slide. I'm going to reopen this. And I don't have it baked into this, but you can actually create workflows based off of these actions. So I'm going to go in here and I go, you know, I would like to see what's gone on here. Well, you can see there's been a lot of different commentaries and the like. The different markups history. And if I go here, I can see, I cannot see this.
Joe, you actually need to select one of the markups to review it.
Ah, thank you. So, yeah.
Just click the review button.
Yep. Did I not save my review? Oh, yeah, there it is. Thank you. So there's the review. And now you can actually go ahead and start to reply to these things. So I'm going to add a reply. Really, no big deal. I can close it. And again, we can attach workflows to this so that based upon it's a high priority, we can alert a group. It's closed, we can also get that alert back as well. Other functionality that I'd like to point out, but this is, I think this is a pretty, I'm going to turn to Larry David, a pretty kind of important thing. Quick and easy zooms, the ability to hover over and get details, fly it out, back, and this is just really cool. Go back to fitting all, rotate. All browser-based, you're not doing anything to use DWG that's destructive. You can blow it out to full screen, bring it back. So we have these different types of clouds and figures that we can also use to annotate these documents.
Joe, I don't know if there's any layers in this document, but you may want to show off the ability to turn on and off different layers in the DWG itself as well.
Oh, yes, I believe we do have in that.
In the lower left corner.
Ah, thank you. Show layers. There we go. And Andy, why don't you speak to this? Because you have more expertise on this topic than I do.
Sure. So a lot of different DWG files do contain a lot of different layers that may represent different types of information in there. And if there's only one set of things you want to look at, or you don't particularly care about one layer, you can just uncheck or check whatever it is that you do want to see, and those will be displayed or not displayed depending on what you've selected. So that gives you a nice way of customizing your view for whatever's actually relevant or what you need to see at a current point in time. So Jeff, you want to go ahead and just
let me
check.
repeat that just very quickly too, because you don't have the USB headset. For those of you who are listening through the computer audio, to reiterate, Andy's point is that you have different layers that you may or may not want to see. And this is a very convenient and easy way to shut off and turn back on those different levels. We can hide them all. All you have left is my beautiful artwork. We can show them all. And this is a very easy way to, again, rifle through those layers that are native within the DWG. Does that about sum it up, Andy?
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay. Just want to do your commentary justice. Let me go ahead and then do another thing that we just think is huge, is the publication directly out of this environment in the browser, and particularly as we get to HTML5, your iPad users and the like will be able to do this on the road, is to publish the PDF. Now, you have a lot of good PDF controls here, watermark banners, all that kind of stuff, just the current page, you can designate the pages, much like your typical sort of PDF print screen, if you will. You can include the layering, the hyperlinks, all sorts of things that you want to put in here. Okay. And password protect the document so that when you go to distribute it, you can have that security added to it as it becomes a distributable. And of course, the selection to go to PDF-A as a standard. When we go to publish this, we're asked to do this in a few places. We could publish it to a file. We could publish it directly to email. I'm going to keep this in the context of SharePoint. I'll keep it right where it belongs. I'm great with that. But I could have moved it right then and there. And with that, that easily is done. And, you know, it's a live environment. This isn't just a glorified PowerPoint. This is all working for us. I'm sure I'll save my changes. Reference. Okay, so there's that PDF that we just created. And likewise, we can go in, showing you the versatility of this product. We can actually go back in and also view this and redline this. So if you're on the receiving end of a published PDF from a DWG, et cetera, and so forth, you can still go through the same redlining and commentary process. Another thing we like to do with the output of these things is once this is all said and done, you might want to move it someplace. We've developed a custom button here, one of the things we liked when they went to the ribbon. So if we wanted to distribute this document that's now been produced, so you've completely workflowed and work streamed in the browser throughout your organization, you have your markups, you have all that other stuff. With that, you want to send it to the consultant. You just grab that guy there. And we've built this so that this would drop into a consultant file. There it is, just produced today. Nice, seamless way to distribute. And of course, because this is SharePoint, this would set off an alert to the appropriate recipient. You have a new file for review. They'll get a hyperlink. You lock down the site. They only have access to the one library, and you're good to go. Another thing I just do want to show up here very quickly, too, and I'm always remiss, I forget which of these documents I actually have versions with, but this is another nice feature of Brava, is the ability to do side-by-side overlays or comparisons. There we go. It's not a whole heck of a lot, folks. There's my little tiny squiggle, and this will show you the different iterations of this DWG as an overlay. I want to move along to another feature of Brava that ties back, we think, obviously nicely to our environment, but we think has real value. Homepage, I like there. So let's just try, we can try a couple of searches here. Now, we knew that environment was N12021. I do it with a wildcard. So SharePoint 2010 and 13 supports wildcarding, which is important. I'm going to run a parallel search over here. Okay, so over here I search for DWG. So this is pretty slick. So a couple of features about this. One is, as you recall, we have that best practices. Let me roll back the view. Oops. Sorry, I'm just getting some bleed here. I wanted to make it a little more discernible for you. When we go through that exercise of filling out the form and the like to provision these sites, we also bake into this a number of refiners that will do things and pick up from the form, for instance, like the year of the project. What team? Is it from New York? Is it from Los Angeles? Is it embedded in an email or RFIs? And on and on and on we go. And this allows you to quickly drill down into what you would think would be the appropriate DWG for viewing. So here I'm going, okay, so I just went down to 2012. Maybe I want to push my luck or not. No, that's right, all my New York stuff was 2011. But regardless, what you can see that Brava gave us out of the gate is this new enhanced search, which we can actually blow out right here. So let's say we didn't want to go to the team site. We didn't have time for that journey, if you will. And we said, look, man, I got to get a PDF out here quickly. We have 1,500 concurrent projects running right now, but I do know it's a DWG. I do know it belongs to LA. I do know whatever your parameters are. You could quickly drill down to this. We had several results. We're down to 5. And again, right inside this search pane, without going to the team site, without doing anything extra, to get the exact same functionality. Now, when we do this, of course, we're going to have to find a location, or we could, in this case, well, let's push my luck over here. Let's publish this to an email. So it elicits the Outlook application. Send it to myself. Depending on how quickly my email cycles for me. Well, we'll give that a moment to cook, but you get the idea. I was able to send it directly out. There we go. So not only was I able to save this stuff back to SharePoint on a quick fly, go to search, I have a great visual interface to confirm the document I need, refiners, and a host of other data points that we've baked into the solution to make this a fast and fluid process. Because time literally is money when you're in professional services, something that we know painfully well ourselves. We are not dissimilar as an industry, what we do here at GigWorks. That are bricks and mortar, it's bits and bytes, but it's the same kind of, we sell time, and then, time is money. Very quickly, we were able to get to that result, send it out to the people that we needed to, and finish the process. So I'm a little ahead schedule here. It's 1:35, but I would happily like to turn this over to Q&A. Unless, Andy, I don't want to rush us out of here at the demo environment, because I know my marketing director will put up in the next moment or two that survey that we referenced. Again, if you can fill it out for us, we do try to make these informative. We are proud. We're not out here just to sell our services. We are proud of what we do as an industry, and we do like to make these things better and more meaningful to our clients. But as I say that, Andy, are there any other features you'd like me to point to at this moment? Or
I think you covered that.
You
can certainly talk about that. We can just talk through that. Joe, do you want to talk through that one so everyone can hear, or do you want me to give the overview and let you repeat?
Yeah, there's one feature set, folks, that I forgot to hit just now. It's measure. And, Andy, this is not my forte. Oh, there we go. So you draw the line.
Joe, your screen isn't showing right now.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, Ricky put up the survey already. Whoops. Well, why don't we talk to that then? Well, just because we don't have a benefit of the visual, there's a key feature within the viewer that also allows you to do measurements and to take out these measurements, both in terms of square footage and angle, et cetera, and so forth, and to snap to the grid to get those measurements as you're going through, for instance, your procurement process, or you're going through your process to validate a design. Is that sufficient, do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think you should mention that along with just doing the straight measurements, it does have the takeoff capability so that we can get in and collect an entire set of measurements, whether it's all the piping that's needed in a building or
Gotcha.
the amount of square footage for carpet or something. We can go through, collect all those, and then save that out so that you can drop it into your Excel sheet, send it off to procurement, as Joe mentioned, or do whatever else you need to.
Yeah, so again, for the folks who are listening on the computer, it does more than linear measurements. It will actually pull out of the DWG the collective measurements of all the piping or roof tile, et cetera, and so forth, and give you a way to discreetly dump that into a CSV and distribute it internally. Of course, if it's in a CSV, we can also bring it into any other database that you want. I'm Joe Giggert from GigWorks. Again, want to thank everybody for their time today, and want to thank Andy from Informative Graphics for coming out today and helping us out.